oranges. Sweet fruits, but only when picked at the right time. They ripen just as long as they are on their branches. If they stay too long, they grow over-mature. But what decides when the oranges are ready for harvest? The tree, the soil, the skin, a taste of juice from a sample? It's all of this, and interestingly enough, this in turn will affect us at Stena Line a great deal. Let's talk a little bit about what we call the digital butterfly effect. Life is full of choices. Each choice generates a new path. Each path produces a different outcome. Some of these paths are born out of chaos, like a coffee mug being spilled, giving a busy mother a thought, lingering in her head, making her take action later on. But many of these choices can be calculated through the information we send out, consciously as well as unconsciously. What if, in this world of chaotic coincidences and chance decisions, we can sort out the information useful to us, make out patterns and take action based on that information, not by trying to figure things out, but by observing the world around us. Gathering bits of information here and there. Letting that information socialize with other bits of information, merging into a whole, enabling us to see the big perspectives, as well as the smallest individuals. Those small bits may seem unimportant to some, therefore often overlooked, can end up making a big difference to someone else. The butterfly effect states that the flap of a butterfly's wings in Japan can stir up a hurricane in Canada. One minor and seemingly unrelated change in one piece of information can have a widespread impact on a future state. What we do is simply to acknowledge this fact and adapt to it, using our insights to find out more. Because the more we know about how the world works today, the more accurately we can predict what will happen tomorrow. And then we will not be sitting on our asses guessing, oh no, we won't. Then we will know, and once we know, we can go to action. Everything is connected. We just need to open our eyes.
Okay, let's see if I can keep your attention for 20 minutes. That will be a real challenge, I can sense, actually. My name is Jari Virtanen. I'm the Chief Transformation Officer for Stena Line. I'm in charge of the digital transformation program in Stena Line. During the next 20 minutes, I will try to give you a glimpse of what the change program in our company means. Stena Line is, as you know, a small company, so 20 minutes will for sure be enough. First of all, we talk about the vision. This vision we set for a couple of years ago. We said that we will be the world's first cognitive ferry company by 2021. During these 20 minutes, I will try to give you an idea of what we mean with that wording and how it fits into our strategy in the company. The digital transformation and the transformation of the company is in the absolute core of our strategy for the next 2-3 years going forward. For 2 years ago, when we started this program, we kind of decided that, okay, being an experienced person in a company is, of course, giving you a lot of data. But on the other hand, we also know that if we collect data in a very nice way, actually the facts will speak for themselves. So we have come up with kind of saying that if you trust your gut feeling, you are either lucky or wrong, and that is something that we try to aim for with the digital change program. If we then think a little bit about what will Stena Line look like in the future, is it then this picture we see actually going forward? Absolutely not. This is not what we are aiming for. Neither, I think, it is this one, meaning that we kind of digitalization will take over all the aspects of the company. But one thing is for sure, we are pretty convinced about the fact that the digital tools in combination with people change will actually drive our revenue strongly forward. It will increase our margins, and it will definitely also make us more efficient. Today, I will also speak a little bit about the people aspect, because many people think actually that digitalization is mostly about technology. I would acknowledge the fact that technology can be at times very difficult. It can be really difficult to kind of come up with the business values through technology, but I would also argue that it's much more difficult when we talk about human beings, because it also involves a certain amount of change within the company. We can provide any tools to people, we can do as clever algorithms as we ever want, but if we cannot convince the people that this will drive their net profitability and the value of their business, then it is not actually worth much. So I would claim that there is actually some kind of truth in the fact when people on the technology side, they would say that, well, digital transformation is about 80% about people. That is, of course, an easy way for a person coming from the technical aspect and the technology aspect, saying that, okay, I will easily fix my part, but the rest of the job needs to be done there. I would though claim that the most difficult part of digitalization actually is about people. And most people are very, very resistant to change until the pain of the change is bigger than the actual change. So it means that you need to come to a point within your business, or you need to come to a point where you understand that, okay, this is actually what needs to be done. And why it gets really difficult, especially in a big company, is that we have processes that we can actually overjump with digital tools, but there is a certain, of course, resistance, job protection, etc. involved in the change, which means that the people we are dependent on developing these tools, they will also actually need to be with us within the change program. If you look at history as such, we have been through change actually previously as well on Earth, a really, really difficult change. So when we're talking about digitalization, many times when we listen to the news, you can actually have the feeling of that, okay, the machines will do everything, people will do nothing, and what will we then do actually as human beings? However, if you look at the Fifth Avenue in the beginning of the 19th century, you can see that this picture is taken 13 years before this picture, and if you look at this picture, there is only horse and carriage here, and you can see one car. Only 13 years later, you can actually take a really careful look and try to find the horse. This change happened during 13 years. I suspect that digitalization will bring something like it, but we have survived before, so it is actually doable. However, as leaders in our company, we talk a lot about that we need to do the push-ups. You cannot only talk about them, and that is the true change in the company. All right, I will now give you a fast glimpse of what we are actually doing when I have spoken a little bit about the people aspect. For a couple of years ago, we sit down and we created this movie giving us a kind of an idea of the end game, where we want to move the company. What we also did is that we sat down and we talked about different scenarios within the company and trying to create a picture within the organization where we are moving actually. So what we did, if you look at, for example, this picture, you might feel that this is a consumer doing something. No, it is actually a freight planner within a client of ours who sits in his sofa or her sofa during a Friday night and can actually manage the capacity with our company. After a while, I will speak a little bit about have we actually done anything within this area. But this was the picture we had. We have also said that we need to work with the driver's working environment, regardless if it is about the consumer, the end game consumer, private consumers, or if it's with the freight people. We have also talked a lot about, especially in the B2B business, how we can serve the customers much better than today, much faster, without actually having them waiting for our offers and capacity, etc., for several days before we can serve them. So we have put quite a lot of effort in the fact of serving our B2B salespeople and trying to develop tools for them which can actually ease and improve the service for our customers, especially on the freight side. Another thing which we talked a lot about is actually how we, in a transparent way, can show the result of the company, how we can actually understand a pretty complex business. We have said that, okay, every person that coming to their job in Stena Line should, within the near future, we should be able to just look at our phone and understand the result of the company, not only backwards, but 18 months ahead through predictive technology, and start to steer the company looking forward rather than in a traditional way looking at some kind of result the last month and then you have a forecast 3 to 4 times a year. It should be a rolling view of how we kind of can steer the business from that point of view. And then, of course, we have the ports environment and the full kind of scope there, where we have 2 million freight units a year, we have 2 million private cars a year, and we have up to 7 million passengers as such. So there is a lot of logistics within there, and we have been looking at that area pretty closely as well and have a good program going forward. And then, of course, not the least, all the customers, they will actually end up on board on our ships. So it doesn't matter what we do in different parts of the companies if the experience on board on the ship doesn't match actually what the other parts of the company has been doing. And this goes for both the freight drivers and the private passengers. And I will also give you some examples of how we try to look at this. However, I want to emphasize that we do not see ourselves as a cruise company or something. We see ourselves as a modern transport company. So we are not trying to create something like the American cruise passengers, like that experience when they go on board. We're trying to serve our customers, freight and private passengers, with a relevant service that gives them great value. That will actually happen by modernizing the restaurant business on board on our ships, how you order food, how you can do it, how you also can price the food. That is one thing that we're looking at pretty much, because dynamic pricing on board on our ships can also be some kind of opportunity, both for the customers to get better prices at times, but also for us to increase margins when we have the possibility of doing it. We're also looking at self-check-in technology on our shops in order to try to facilitate that, because in the high seasons we have quite a lot of queues inside the retail shops, and that will then give us a better service to the customers if we can kind of handle this. But it's a pretty complicated area. There's a lot of legislation involved in this, so that's why it takes effort. Of course, we are like any other, now we come into the practicalities, what we are actually doing, and of course we are like any other company. We are looking both on the freight side and the travel side on giving our customers modern apps, which then kind of improves their way of looking at it. We are also looking at the possibility, we are changing our infrastructure on the web, we are looking at the onboard service, and we are also having a lot of focus on data-driven marketing in order to personalize our marketing messages. to the customers. And we have a big project going on where we are changing the full booking, the booking systems, which means that we are going into a one company environment rather than having one system for freight and another system for the consumers. We're trying to optimize this in a good way by using one system for both of them and understanding capacity and pricing from that point of view. We have also put quite a lot of effort in trying to understand the data landscape, because if you want to be maximizing the effects of data, you need to have data streaming in between different parts of the companies easily. This is not very easily done if you have during 50 years created data silos and then suddenly you want to get the data moving, then you need to put some effort in that. So that's what we are doing over there. We also I've been looking at a concept which we call the Business Performance Center, which actually will give people and our employees an instant live view of how the company is doing and especially how we predict it to go, the results to go forward, in order to take the decisions kind of in a much better pace than previously. Let's see, we have also really good progress in a project we call Stena Fuel Pilot, where we are actually trying to optimize our ship operations and trying to minimize the bunker consumption by combining the efforts of the human and also with artificial intelligence. And this is something which we are pretty happy about. Then if we go forward, we are looking also, we have a test in Karlskrona where we're looking at the port environment, we call it the Gate Lab project, where we're looking at how we can ease our way of checking in and gating in units into our port, which is a good effort for us. And if we are going to use data in a maximum way, we need, of course, also to be able to digitize the full ship environment, to understand the ship environment from a data point of view. And going forward, which I talked to you about, giving our salespeople really good CRM tools and really good tools in order to maximize our profitability and the service to the customers is something that we look at and try to put a lot of effort in. Finally then, where are we on this journey? Well, this picture illustrates it. And I have my CEO here somewhere in the room, and he might say to me after this meeting, well, I thought you had come much further. I would say that during the past 2 years, we have actually moved the needle quite a lot. But there is a lot of work going on behind the scenes, but we are getting into position where we really feel that it will now start to affect our customers in a very positive way, where we are starting to gain the real net value of this. Digitalization, however, is not done by only looking at the investment side. We are pretty strict on creating business cases and scenarios of how we use money when we digitize as a tool of change as well, in order to get some real effects out of this. However, everybody has a plan until the reality hits you, kind of. And Mike Tyson once said that everybody has a game plan until I hit them in the face, and that pretty much comes along with daily reality as well within digitalization. We are, of course, all the time changing scenarios. Something works, something doesn't work, etc. So we are trying to live with the market, with the company, and with the environment around us, and trying to ignore quite a lot of the trends and try to look at the net value. In Stena, we are trained very much to look at the bottom line, so you won't come anywhere without looking at that one, and that is actually what we focus on. All right, so the final picture is, of course, that we are aiming for the sky, and please join the movement by using our ferries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jari. Is it? Now? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jari. You had what is it? Picture? No, a slide here that said Tyson. He said you have a plan until you get punched.
Yes.
What is your plan?
Well, the plan is, of course, the full transformation plan we have. But what I'm trying to say is that you might have as many nice PowerPoints as you ever can create, but you need to also live with the reality, and you need to follow the movement in the business. It doesn't matter if you just kind of do your own thing and then you don't relate to the world
No.
around you.
And you have been talking about the digitalization era, and I know that there are many people that is not so comfortable with the digitalization era.
Yes.
What is your suggestion for an organization to get all the people on the same track?
Yeah. Well, if you have like we have 6,000 employees roughly, you need to work a lot with communication. You need to have very clear leadership from the very top, meaning from our CEO and Niklas Mortensson, and also from our owner and the family around us, in order to point out the direction. Then it is also, of course, after that, up to each individual line manager to kind of buy into the product. You need to educate them, and many times people tell us that, yeah, digitalization, we have been doing that for 15 years. What is new? And with the technology available today, I would say that many of us as managers and line managers, we know what we want, but very few of us actually know what we can get. So it's a constant dialogue with the employees and especially with the leaders.
So you might not know what you get these days, but what do you want these days?
Yeah, well, the business, we talk a lot about that the business representative should tell us what they want, but they don't need to bother so much how we do it. They should concentrate on the business. Of course, this is a very close collaboration between a cross-functional collaboration between the business and the technology in order to get it. So we have been moving people around in the office landscapes, putting people close to each other, etc. Nobody sits in a small office anymore and have their own universe.
Mm-hmm.